Good evening, everybody. How are you doing tonight? It's your boy DC, and this is Out of the Fog. We're a local matter show that goes right across the province and around the world, if you don't mind. Hanging out with all the cool people making the good things happen. Tonight, I have two powerhouses joining me on the couch. Mark Baldwin of Dale Carnegie changed my life and thousands of others with professional and personal development programs and opportunities. He is moving forward in his career, but you're about to hear about a rich history of helping folks be their best Dale. And next up after that, we have the incredible, the honorable Yvonne Jones. A new book is out, an unbelievable career in politics, an intimate and revealing side of her personal life, the struggles, the triumph, and we got her right here on the couch. Right after the break, it's Out of the Fog. We'll see you in 2. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and let me tell you what, I am as excited as I can be. Picture an obnoxious, disorganized, all over the place human starting a business with no clue about how to truly operate in a team dynamic. And then I met this man, and then I did his program, and the rest is history. Mark Baldwin of Dale Carnegie. How are you?
Doing excellent, sir.
Now, I recently had Sean Stack, our president of the association that we are so lucky to be a part of.
Person.
He's an amazing person.
Yes, he is indeed.
And we love you too, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
And I can say the same.
Oh, well. Sorry, everybody. I want to start off, for anyone who does not know, Dale Carnegie, I want you to tell the viewers at home all about the man.
Well, Dale Carnegie was very inspirational in motivating people. His mother was a huge inspiration in his life, and he wasn't very athletic, so she said, you should try something like debating. And actually got him involved with the debating team at a school in Missouri, and it exploded from there. He moved into becoming an educator, and he moved to New York, and he even made an attempt at acting. Oh. That didn't work out all that well. I don't think it was paying the bills. But in 1912, the YMCA in Harlem, New York, actually asked him to conduct, or hired him to conduct, a public speaking course. Being an educator, he knew for people to stand in front of a group, that was a challenge. And it's still the same today. But he knew that in order to overcome that challenge, you got to do it. And he got his participants up, and my understanding is there were 12 participants in the original course, and you paid by the week. And he had a curriculum set up for multi-weeks, so if you didn't like what you did tonight, you didn't have to come back. And they all came back. But what he did in the beginning is he asked people, tell me a little bit about yourself, which had them get up in front and answer that question. And he would ask some other questions, such as, what do you do in your spare time? What do you like to do? Hobbies, interests? And the pivotal question became, what is your greatest challenge at work? And very soon it was realized that the number one challenge at work was dealing with people. So the curriculum changed. So Mr. Carnegie had identified some common sense principles that when they're applied, they can help you build relationships. So then the commitment was made, I'm going to do this week, and next week you have to come back and tell us what happened, which was a twofold effect. You were building relationships, eventually becoming a more stronger leader, inspiring and motivating others, and you were building confidence each week by standing in front of a group. So just as recent as this week, we had a graduation where we had a dozen participants, and I think there was 54 at their graduation. So a question that I always ask groups today is your confidence level really grown, or are you comfortable with the dozen people you're doing this course with? And far often than not, their first response is, well, I'm comfortable with the group. Because as you know, you get to know the group very well.
Oh, do you ever?
You bond.
You do.
So we invite guests for two reasons. We celebrate their success and we use them. They're a bigger group. And to hear their renewed vision for the future and the Celebrate Breakthrough report that they deliver at graduation, it's just inspiring. I mean, I had a hard time getting to sleep Tuesday evening after the graduation. The course really exploded after the book was published, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Which is?
How old now? Well, it was published in 1936.
And the best-selling book behind the Bible.
Yeah, it's up there, right? It's really up there. I still have people that I meet today that are not Dale Carnegie graduates, but they say, I've read that book, best business book I've ever read. And then I have people talk about how to stop worrying and start living.
Yes.
That one seems to be growing a little more in recent years.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's got something to do with people's level of anxiety and overcoming that. And when you hear someone come in session one and say, I'm here because I'm stressed out, I can't perform as well as I'd want to at work or as well as I used to at work. Sometimes the work from home is nice. Sometimes it isn't. We miss that social interaction.
True.
And as one graduate from about 6 months ago, a second-time graduate, I might add, called me up and said, I've been working from home, I've been in sales for the last 30 years, and now I'm only allowed to call them, and now they tell me I got to go out and see them again. And the anxiety was through the roof. And he said, I know what Carnegie did for me the first time, can I do it again? I said, absolutely. So he came back again, and he was in the session, probably 3 sessions, and he was like, okay, I'm back to myself. So we see that a lot. And I'm seeing more and more younger, in some cases students, and that has been just an amazing experience.
Why do you think that is?
Well, having 2 daughters myself, my oldest completed Carnegie when she was 15. I was concerned of a few things about bullying and that kind of stuff. And
sure.
One of her teachers said to me shortly after she graduated, she said, you won't have to worry about her being bullied. There's a difference between cocky and confidence. And my youngest daughter, she did it she just turned 14 while she was in the class. And I joke with her now and say, yeah, I thought you were going to be the bullier, which is not true. But she did it, and they both come back and repeated voluntarily on their own without me asking. So that says something as well.
Especially wanting to be around Dad. I mean, that's its own trick.
Yes. Well, their first time both doing it, they did it with a different coach. That's fine. But they both come back in my class as well.
That's fun.
So
that's really fun for you.
And it is. It is. It's when you see somebody who, when they walk in for the first night, and they're not walking in willingly. And that doesn't mean it's just a young person. We've seen lots of people walk in very unwillingly, and I've had a number of participants, and if one of them is watching this show, they'll laugh because they know exactly who I'm referring to. They came into the class one night and folded his arms, and he said, well, I'm here. Change me.
Oh, wow.
And after that session, they actually said to me, I came here for one night, and one night only, to tell you I'm not coming back. But I liked what I seen tonight, so I'm going to give you another night. And of course, they never missed the session, because it gets, as you know, it gets addictive, right?
Oh, it does. I'm going to ask you a question. How many folks do you think you have helped empower through the Dale Carnegie?
I've got 27 years, and I have and I worked before that as well, but my numbers are, it's a little over 6,000 that I've worked with, and my team has worked with. And it's been, I struggle to say that I worked. And you've heard me say this many times before, when you love what you do, and I know you love what you do, it's not like work then.
No.
And when you hear people at a graduation talk about how their life has changed, that they're no longer stressed or they're not experiencing the anxiety. And in some extreme cases, I can get on a plane now without pharmaceutical assistance. That's a huge jump in confidence.
Big time.
It is.
Mark, you know, we're in our final minute of our hang here. Time flies when you're having a laugh.
That's right.
Big news for you.
Yes, it is. Well, yeah, well. Has to come.
I can't believe it.
Neither can I.
How does it make you feel?
I'm struggling with it.
I'm not surprised.
I am struggling with it. Last Tuesday night was a big, are you serious? Are you going to retire? Because I'm pretty young. There are other things that I'd like to do.
You are so young.
Right. Well, I'll be celebrating my 6th anniversary of my 50th birthday soon. I stopped counting birthdays.
Yes, who needs them?
That's right. So it's, there are some individuals that are wanting to carry the torch, shall we say, and I'm sure that will happen. I don't doubt that. Considering our history here in Newfoundland, Dale Carnegie was here himself in 1932 and did 4 classes in Corner Brook. And from my understanding that I've learned, from 1942 on, there's been full-time representation here.
Wow.
And the business has just constantly grown. So, yeah, it is a challenge. So I spoke with one individual today who's working towards becoming a certified coach. And they actually said to me, if I really get involved, where are you going? And I said, I'm not going far. I'm going to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, in this final moment, you have meant so much to so many. Our association loves you. We don't know what we're going to do without you.
Oh, well.
Be around. Come as my guest. And I can speak on behalf of so many folks who have entered Dale Carnegie and never looked back, and the little golden book that we carry around and all the lessons, you know. You changed my life.
And the memories. Can I say your middle name now?
Yes.
Patrick?
That's right. Listen, guys, the name trick is one of the many things I will say. So thank you so much for coming on this show.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I can't wait to follow you into the future of what you do.
Oh, wow.
And I only hope that the coaches who take your place continue to inspire and develop and empower personally and professionally the people of our province the way that you and your team have been able to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, Dale Carnegie, if he's not your homie, he needs to be. Check him out. Sign up for a program. It changed my life. It'll change yours. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and I am so excited to be hanging out with the one and only, the Honorable Yvonne Jones. How are you doing tonight?
Donnie, I'm doing great, and it's a pleasure to be here in the studio with you and to be on Out of the Fog.
Listen, I'll tell you what, 20 plus years the show has been on. I've been hanging out for a few years, but having someone like you come through is a highlight for me, because as long as I have been bending my ear and eye to the political landscape, you have been there. And your story is so incredible, and any person I've ever met who has come across you loves you.
Oh, thank you.
I want to give you your flowers right off the bat.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll get the flowers on the way out. But remarkable. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. I've had a tremendous political career in serving the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, both in the provincial legislature and in the federal legislature. And I've saw so many changes over that period of time. And so trying to capture some of those bigger moments in my book was very difficult because there's so many of them. So I had to be very selective about those particular events that I wrote about.
I can only imagine the vulnerability that it must take to sit down after such an incredible career and life and to try to put that to paper. What is that journey like, and what led you to deciding, you know what, I'm going to do that?
There was a number of reasons, I guess. First of all, my book is kind of two parts. One is the woman, you know, Yvonne Jones. Who is she? Where did she come from? How did she grow up? You know, what kind of fabric is this woman made of? And the other part is the political part, which most people know me in this province as a politician. And what I've found is in my political career, there are still a lot of young women and boys that go through many of the challenges that I went through as a child. You know, dealing with, you know, trauma in the home, dealing with alcoholism. I was a victim of child sexual abuse. And overcoming all of those things in my life was very, very difficult for me. And I know there are people out there today that are struggling with these issues and are still relevant and present, unfortunately. And I hope that in telling my story, I would inspire others who've been on that journey to be hopeful, to dream big, to realize that you can do anything that you want to do, and that you don't have to be shaped and defined just by tragedy in your life, but by how you deal with it. And I think that was the message I wanted to get across in writing this book. And the other thing I wanted to get across as well is that I grew up in a rural, isolated community at a time when we had very little services, and it was a difficult way to live back then. And so I wanted people to realize and understand that the fabric of our entire province has been really built on resilience and strong people, and that you too are one of those strong people, despite what you've had to go through in your life. And I really believe that that message came across and it resonates with people.
Well, I have no doubt about it. You know, I often hear it's not what happens to you, it's what happens for you. But you have to have that winners, leaders mindset to truly understand that, or at least look back and realize that you had it in you all along to do that, you know?
Yes. You know, in writing the book, I guess for me, it was kind of therapeutic as well. You know, we all take our own journeys in life, and you know, I had battled cancer twice. I had dealt with extreme grief and loss in my life in losing my daughter, and then later in losing my brother. And, you know, I talked about in the book, you know, the challenges of grief, the challenges of battling a life-threatening illness like cancer, and how you do that with a supportive people around you. And in Newfoundland and Labrador, and in Canada in general, you know, there are so many people with those support mechanisms around them that help them in those very difficult times. And sometimes I've met many people, I should say, that have said to me, you know, I know you were grieving, but I didn't know what to say to you. I didn't know how to reach out to you. We never know the right words, but don't let it stop you. It's about caring, it's about kindness, it's about little things that lift people up on some of the saddest journeys they take in life. And I had the opportunity to have tremendous and inspiring people around me at the most difficult times in my life. And I'm sure they felt uncomfortable being there, but they were there. And so don't let that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing how to deal with grief or not knowing how to deal with illness keep you away from the people you love. You know, sometimes a simple hug, a simple phone call can make a difference.
That's such amazing advice. Don't make me emotional.
No.
So,
I'll tell you a funny story, Johnny.
I balance it out, babe. Let's go.
There's so many funny stories, and I think most of them in political life is really around issues or subjects and so on. And I know when I was writing the book and I was trying to say, what do I put in this book and what do I take out? Because you get people that will call you up in political life and they will say to you, you know, how do I get this through to the government? Or can you pass along to the government this message or that message? And I would always do that, of course, but I always reflected on it and said, you know, that person really is thinking today, and they have something important to say, and they're calling me to get that message out. And I always enjoyed that part of it, because sometimes it could be things about the dogs are loose in a community and we need to get them locked up, or it could be something as serious as getting a patient medevaced in the middle of the night out of an isolated community in Labrador. So I've done it from one end of the spectrum to the other. And of course, there's funny moments, and then there's more somber moments that you deal with in life in general, but especially in political life.
And thank you so much. You know, someone who has been with and around as many people as you have in your life, in your career, what are the types of energies of people that really turn you on and make you want to zoom in or be around that energy? Like, what are those characteristics like for you?
Well, I don't like negativity in my life, of course. I'm a very positive person myself. I live in hope every day. I'm a big dreamer, and I think the bigger you can dream, the more successful you can be. So obviously, I'm distracted by negative people immediately. What attracts me to people? They're high energy, they're ideas that they can generate, their personalities. I'm a very funny, laid back, relaxed kind of person. I'm not an uptight, you know, staunchy politician type that most people define. I'm very much the very opposite. So when I see people and engage with people, I like people to have that same energy. And I keep it real. You know, I am who I am, and I am proud of who I am. And I think for many of us, we aspire to always look to someone else to see the best attributes. We don't look to ourselves sometimes.
So true.
And we all have it. We all have it within us. But you know, I think positive people bring positive energy, great ideas. They make life more fun, and that's the kind of people I enjoy being around. People like you, Donnie.
People like you, people like us.
People like us. Where you can walk into a studio and I can say, look at my beautiful hairdo I had today from Brenda Chater at her salon, right?
Our
and
girl.
go Brenda. But no, I think keeping things real, keeping it sincere is what I have always found to be the most successful trait that I brought to every job I've done.
I love that. So I'm going to ask you, you know, it's hard to look in on yourself. It's like reading the label from inside the bottle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But when you look at your career and the countless people that you've inspired, are you proud of the impact you've been able to make so far?
Oh, absolutely. I am so happy with the progress I've been able to make as a member of Parliament, as a member of the House of Assembly. And you don't do it alone. You do it with a lot of support. The people of Labrador have been incredible to me in my career. They've voted for me 10 times in 10 elections over and over. And they've always been there for me, and I've tried to always be there for them. And in the federal government, the same for the island of Newfoundland. You know, I've tried to be there for the people of this province on issues that have been important to them. You know, whether it was going through the Muskrat Falls debacle, which I write about in my book, and the first $5 billion we delivered from the Liberal government at that time went to pay down the debt on Muskrat Falls. So, you know, and then we brought in funding for rate mitigation. We invested in the oil and gas industry to create jobs for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. And, you know, when we changed important pieces of legislation like Bill C-49, which allowed us to open up Newfoundland and Labrador to offshore wind energy, I was the one who shepherded that bill through the House of Commons and through the committee. So, you know, I'm very proud of those things. I'm proud that over 2 decades, I was able to secure hundreds of millions of dollars to build a highway through Labrador and to pave that highway. And I enjoy driving it every day that I can, and I know it's given new opportunity to the lives of people there.
So true.
I'm not really sure if I inspired everyone along that journey. I remember being the Minister of Fisheries and flying back to St. John's on a Sunday, and 5,000 protesters in the parking lot of the fisheries building, and the premier calls me up that morning bright and early and says, they're bussing in for a protest. You better get yourself back here to St. John's and get in front of those protesters. Wow. And see what we need to do to fix this problem. And of course, I did those things, and I was the first woman to be the Minister of Fisheries, so it was very difficult times for me to navigate a very male-dominated industry. Wow. And but I did it. And you know, at the end of the day, I really felt good about my performance, about the work I could do with the fishing industry in the province. And you know, and it's a tough industry even today. And that continues. But yeah, I certainly don't feel regret in any way.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a gift to me. Whenever and that's why I love doing the show, because I get to rub shoulders for a brief moment in time with heroes and people who will have a lasting legacy and impact on helping define our province into the future. And that's who you are. And so I'm so proud to be with you, thankful for the time you've given. And for you folks, Yvonne Jones has a book, and you need to read it. And everything in those pages will inspire, will enlighten, and will give you more of a patriot lens for the work it takes that we all deserve to show up to do to make our province a better place to live, work, and to be. Will you come back and see us again sometime?
Absolutely, Donnie. For you, anytime.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Out of the Fog. Thank you to Mark Baldwin from Dale Carnegie, a dear friend and incredible motivational leader. Yvonne Jones, the honorable, the one and only. So impressed and honored to have you join us to share your intimate journey and your brand new book, From Breakwater. Cannot wait for you guys to check it all out. This is Out of the Fog, and we'll see you next time. It's great.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
With Canada's sovereignty and economy under threat, this election is a defining moment for the country.
There's so much on the line.
Get to know the candidates running to be your MP and represent your interests in Ottawa. Hear from your local candidates during Rogers TV's coverage of the local campaign. And on election night, Rogers TV delivers the local results. Rogers TV. Watch, learn, vote.
I'm a singer-songwriter from Six Nations, and I've been writing songs about my experience, and with that being said, it's helped me hold hope in my heart in following my dreams and being resilient to everyday Indigenous battles. Competition between spirit, earth, and wind, let me tell you now. This song in particular, The Shiner, is a special song that I wrote for my grandfather. He was a snow.
Saturdays, it's hockey like you've never seen before. Welcome to the NHL Hockeyverse. It's the place where